welcome to Breaking News Wahala on Q Talk. My name is Marvelous Achafu Kelechi. And today on Q Talk, we'll be discussing a story that just broke out, a breaking news about a 17-year-old boy that died during sex with a top, and his sister broke the news. His sister is also a lesbian, a member of the community, and his name has been withheld. She said she doesn't want his name released, but we'll just talk about it and we'll just give a hint or just give our opinions, basically. So today we have, today as usual, I have Chimirezi and Rawina in our Toronto studios. Welcome, Chimirezi. How are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Chafu. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And we also have Zamani Abubakar, our honorable porn star in the building. Zamani, how are you doing? Zamani, can you hear me?
How are you guys doing?
Well, fine, Jerry. So, Zamani, you have this story, and it seems like you're an insider in this story. Yeah, thank you very much. You have the story and you're an insider in this story. Please, could you just give us a briefing of what really happened? We know about the story, me and Chimirezi, but for our viewers watching, what really happened?
Okay, so yesterday in the evening, I got a call from one of my friends, that's the sister of the disease. She called me and she told me that the brother is dead. The boy is just 17 years old. I was like, what happened? And she recently found out that that the brother was employed. She found out about 5 months ago. So she told me that his brother was dead. I was like, what happened to him? How did he die? He said he went to visit a top in the guest house, and during this sex, he died. I was like, how did that happen? Did you guys held the top or something? What did he? Is it a ritualist? She was like, damn, it was not ritualist. So my brother caused what was in his hand. Though. My brother killed himself. That's what happened. That's how did he kill himself? My brother was the one that was telling him that it's power bottom. He can handle it. He can take care of it. That's why he likes having. He doesn't do small things. That he can go close to like 5 rounds. So I was like, okay, so that's what happened. So even the top was even refused. Appearance is small. Talking about age, he's not even an adult yet, still a teenager. So the guy was refusing. I cannot meet you. I cannot meet you. After so much pleading and forcing, the guy finally, okay, let me just meet you. So the guy came and they lodged the guest house. So during sex, I think the guy went, and the guy is very rough, as in it's very rough when it comes to sex. So when during sex, the guy was like, maybe he was doing it so much. That's what it was like. That's what it happened.
So I feel
That's how it
Zamani's
happened.
network is a little bit bad.
Chimere. So they're talking, I know they hear me. I think that's how it
I think,
happened. That's how it happened.
okay, I think for
We,
the,
we, we could hear you, but we could hear you just a bit because your
yeah,
network is breaking.
was breaking. But I think for those that did not get what the story is, so this is how the story goes. Chimirezi, would you like to give a brief? Would you just like to summarize the story? Did you hear the
So
story?
basically, it's an underage boy who went to meet a top, and during the encounter, I don't know because I wasn't there, but I think something happened that he bled to death. But we don't have the full story. But during the sex, he stopped breathing, and you know, and he died. And I feel the story is very important because there are many young viewers who watch us who are even underage. Remember when we were having sex education, there was a young dude that since he was 16 and he wanted to have sex. And that is why we have encouraged younger people don't have sex until the right legal age of having sex. And there are so many questions to be asked in this situation, which I feel is important for all of us to learn a lesson, both the younger and the older queer generation.
For me, I would say that this is another pathetic and sad news. I think the guy in sex education wasn't even 16. I think he was 14. And we have so many community members like that coming into the community every day, being sectionalized, because there was a particular guy I was talking to, I think he was 16 to 15. I can't remember his name. His name was, I think Ayo or something. I can't remember again. That we were talking, and I was just like, but don't you feel like you are too young to be having sex? And he said that, Not really now. He has been having sex since when he was like 11 and 12. We even had the episode we did on the sex for money that Obeyed came on the show and said that the greatest gift his uncle gave him was when he started having sex with his uncle as 10 years old. Can you remember that episode, Chimerizi?
Yes, I
You
remember
were on
Sex for Money.
like the sex for money. I
We'll
said
put the video somewhere there, so in case you want to watch it, you
so.
can.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll add that part so that people can listen. He said that was the greatest gift his uncle gave to him. We'll ever be grateful. And I tried to even ask him the question, don't you feel like this is underage, like pedophilia? I said no. He said people can say what they want. And it's like that. It's so much rampant in the community where you see young people, and it's bad for us to have young people. See, I would be two-sided on this. I would first advise people. People would say, oh, don't go for the young ones, leave them alone. They are not ripe for to have sex, this and that. People should be, they will build the top.
Definitely, that should be the main thing, because one, as promised in this story, this person is under age 17. This boy is supposed to be upcoming, but this person is supposed to be in school. You as a top, you knew that this boy is an underage, and why
he might not know. So let's just leave it opening for he might not, but let's just put it in the context that he knows.
I'm coming. Yes, you might not know, but even when you look at a 17-year-old black child, you that is a black man knows the 17-year-old black child. You can't say I didn't know. No, you know a 17 when you say a 17. You know a 16. You know a 20 when you say a 20. There are signs in the body that shows you if this person is up to age or under age. You could always ask for an ID card. There are things he could have done to verify the age of that child on his own. If he had done this thing, this child would still be alive. If he had said no to this child would still have been alive. Secondly, you were having sex with this child. There must have been signs during the sexual intercourse that shows that this person was either struggling for breath or was bleeding, because there must be signs that shows that this person was very uncomfortable during sex. Are you getting my point, Mr. Chafo?
Yeah, I get your point. And for me, I would just like to touch on two things. Like I said again, sometimes you might not know. If you said people would know, when I was 17, nobody knew. And I did not have an ID. So when I was 20, this is in Nigeria, where getting an ID is very frustrating. From voter's card to driver's license to everything is basically frustrating. Even you have to pay to get everything. Even the passports, everything. It's so pathetic. We know what goes on with the passports, where even people, I think there was a particular time, even throughout this year, that getting a passport was almost impossible. It felt like bringing heaven on earth. So
and as the program trails to a close, we'll bring you a report on the Nigerian passport issuing process.
Taking a trip from one country to another is fun and educative. But first things first, you must have a travel document, the Nigerian passport. Unfortunately, it's not something that can be bought from a shopping mall or the roadside market. In case you don't know, the Nigerian Immigration Service is the agency saddled with the responsibility of providing you with one. And that is what brings us the Lagos Headquarters Passport Office, Ikoyi. Security is key, and from what you can see, every individual has to pass through 3 different stages of scrutiny before getting access to the main premises. From there, applicants begin the procedure. The first is the acquisition process, where officers call in applicants, check their file, confirm the online payment, register the file, and then send it to the next stage. Then the files are brought to these officers at this point.
Go and enter them. Mention your surname, please.
In this long room, staff and officers perform different duties. First are those in charge of online verification payment. Immigration also confirms the payment the second time. Confirming that all the procedures are complete, then a signature, a stamp, and seal. The processing then begins with the applicants appearing for a face-to-face interaction. Then the verification room to enrollment and scanning room where capturing processes begin for reissue and a fresh passport. Here, applicants' data is recorded into the system with the basic biometric capture. Aside from the active population, minors are also served here. We're not done yet. Here is the finishing room, where the quality control, personalization, and lamination is carried out. Finally, the ball stops at the collection point, where individuals come in to pick up their passports, and the officer confirms if it's the same person in the system. A final thumbprint is essential.
The significance of this thumbprinting is that it activates the passport. It makes it live, bring life into the passport, otherwise it remain dormant. And that is ICAO specification. And ICAO also help us to establish help desks when you are facing any problem when producing passport. Sometimes as you want to approve online here, the network will not be forthcoming. And you stay here for a day looking for network to not forthcoming.
Well, obtaining this travel document indeed has a long chain, but it's worth the wait after all.
So in Nigeria, I did not get an ID till I was 20, which was even the voter's card, and I know what I had to stand. I came there as early as 5 a.m., left as late as 5 p.m. That was how bad it was. I spent my entire day in the government, and so it was till 20 I got an ID. And I know that even when I was 17 or 16, you would not know. I think I was having sexual intercourse very, very early. So you would probably not as early as that doing that stage. It was still mommy and daddy, this playful stuff. But when I was 17, you would never know. When I was 16, you would never know. So I told people that in some cases, it's hard for you to know. That is number one. Getting government ID, like I said again, Nigeria is heaven on earth, number two. Number three, again, if you say sexual pleasure, there are some people that I have seen that will tell you they want BDSM. You present as a BTM or as a top these days. People present what they want to you. It might be the BTM, and I'm not, like I said, we don't have the full story. Since one person is dead now, we have a one-sided story. I wish they were both alive. But there are some BTMs that will tell you that this is the way they want sex. And if you say that you cannot give them sex, they move on to the next person. Now coming to the side where you know that the person is underage, which is something very, very bad, which is something very, very pathetic. But one thing I've told people again, that if you tell this 17-year-old no, or 18 or 16-year-old or underage people no, it does not guarantee that it will stop them from having the sex. No, they will move on to somebody else, try somebody else. I have been in that situation before, and I think I've shared that story too before. I told somebody, that did not stop a person. The next 2 weeks, he was having it somewhere else. And sometimes you might be the one to guide that person.
The good thing is that at least your conscience is clear, because
your conscience is. No, I'm not saying you should partake with you. I'm not saying you should partake with them. All I'm saying is that you should try and redirect, give evidence or give reasons, or try and even tell the 17-year-old, you know what, first hold on, why not try access? We talked about this in poverty. Other things to get sexual drive, apart from having sex and knocking each other or the point of where the person now went to even meet the Lord. This is a very shameful story. They did it to the process that the person even went to meet the Lord. And that's what you said too. There's a very strong point that you gave, that which is the fact that there might have been some signs that this person was going to meet the Lord, was going to pass away. But because of the kind of sex you have, maybe it's even choking the person, maybe guy trying to bang like a monster, trying to bang like an horse, just trying to suffocate the person, use all your power. Maybe the person might have used a lot of manpower. at action, people that can't perform without action beaters these days. And maybe choking the guy, doing all from all sorts of absurd things on the young boy like
There are
that.
also so many questions here.
Very many questions.
Were they alcohol involved in this sex? Were there chemicals, drugs involved in this sex? What did you
Manpower.
give to? We don't even know, because like the funny thing is that, you know, from our source Zamani says this child has already been buried without an autopsy, and I feel this is so wrong. This the body should have been, you know, taken to, sorry, I don't know the name of those people, but to where they do autopsy, and autopsy should have been carried out on this body. Let us know the full evidence, because even in death, there are things that still tell the truth that happens in every situation. Because right now, we don't even know if this child, you know, was given any, you know, chemical to drink. We don't know if this child was high. We don't know if this child was on any type of drugs you're getting. We don't know the situations that surround this incident. And like you rightfully said, you're going to have a one-sided story, and there is a lot to be learned. Young people, you need to...
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Chimerize.
Mm.
Chimerize. See,
Yes, go on.
according to the sister, he said the boy wasn't at fault. The top wasn't at fault. The top wasn't at fault. The fault came from the brother. The top wasn't at fault. The top, there was no drink, there was no weed, nothing at all. The top didn't take any drink. You know, there are some tops that you understand as if they like when it comes to sex, they're like wild animals, even without alcohol or any manpower whatsoever. They're like wild animals. It's just that it's very clear and simple. That top and that boy, they are not compatible when it comes to sex. The boy, the dick killed the boy. That's just it. It's too much for him. That's why he died. It's fucking too much for
So
him.
let's be very blunt in this situation. Let's wait, hold on, Samani. Let's do it on that point you made right there. You said the dick was too much for the boy. What do you mean by that? Please explain.
See, when you're having sex, you don't just start with a big dick like.
Are you saying his annual walls were
like go a
ruptured?
long way before started going extra miles?
Was his annual walls ruptured?
I don't know if it was ruptured. I didn't see the body.
Because when we begin to say the dick was too much for him to handle, there is only one logical explanation to that statement. It's either his annual walls were ruptured and then he began to bleed. He had an internal bleeding and he bled to death. That is one explanation. The second possible...
Okay, go on. That is the second.
The second possible thing is either he was being... I'm coming. You're going to speak. Let me just speak. The second possibility that could happen in this situation is either the top had choked him and had choked out the breath from him.
Which I said earlier.
Or they were having sex and an object accidentally or mistakenly hit a very sensitive part of him and caught him. It's either he hit his head on the wall or he got hit by an object and then something ruptured.
Even I had sex before at a particular time. I remember that story. Let me share. When I was having sex, and then it was in an hotel room, and then out of plane, I know playing this thing and too much, and I use my back to hit all this hotel, they have like glass table, in case you want to, and hit the glass table. The fact that my spinal cord did not break, today I'm still surprised how, but I know that I felt so much pain for a long time that even standing up became a problem. It lasted for about 2 weeks, a week to 2 weeks. It was so bad. Even then, I thought that my spinal cord had broken because I heard the sound and I heard the pain. And the first time I first tried, or even I think for like a few minutes, my legs were numb. And imagine from there now, my spinal cord had broken, I could not walk again, or maybe I died. From there, I died. Or maybe it was my neck, because if your spine is broken from your neck, it's automatic death. So imagine what would have happened there. So I felt like there's so much situation or something else that could have happened that we don't know, or it might be something that led to it. It might not be just having sex or the BDSM. And to say that the top is not at fault, to me, I'll put the top at fault. I'm sorry.
Yes, to be honest, I feel the top is at fault at every situation. Once the child is underage, what you're supposed to tell that child to go back to school. Go back to school.
Even
yes,
no, one is underage. The two again, one is underage. The age factor is there. If he became a police case. Two again is this thing. What's his name? He's the host. He's the one that is hosting the event. So anything that happened, they could blame him for everything. Everything transpired in your own domain. That is his second thing again. And thirdly again, you are I'm sorry, I can't remember the third point. There's something I wanted to bring out again from the entire situation. That the top, everything points towards the top. The third point again is that the boy is dead and it's your word against his. Now it's a one-sided story. And whatever happens, it's your word against his own. So I feel like in everything, the top is already at fault. Because if they would have been signs that this person was
and
going.
The fourth thing is, why was the child buried in a hurry? Why wasn't an autopsy carried?
Why was it not taken to the hospital for medical care? Something happened in the hotel. I did not even bother to even transport it to the hospital. Maybe he went into shock. Maybe he fainted. Maybe something happened. Or at least that even if he died, he was going to be in a hospital. It was in a guest house. And you called the sister, come and pick your brother is dead. Come and pick the dead body. No, everything points towards the top.
There are so many questions in this situation that can be answered, because right now, like you said, the boy is dead and he can't speak for himself. But if the body was, if the body was still there and an autopsy was carried out, the truth behind the story would have been told. And the fact that the boy has been buried and everything has been closed is the most painful part for me. And I feel this boy is not going to get the justice he deserves. And the person who whatever was at fault, or whoever was at fault plainly, will go scot-free.
Zamani, any final words you'd like to add before we end the show? So, just finally. So, what is the sister doing? Just to find out, you're the one that is like that. What is the sister doing? What is happening? How are they going to resolve everything?
The sister told me that his brother has always been a busybody, and doesn't, as in, the boy is a very busybody. When you see somebody busy doing rubbish, I think I see, if I can say about me, I wouldn't blame himself that much, because the boy first thing, the sister assured me that the boy was refusing. It was my brother that was disturbing his cause. He said his brother's message on the boy's WhatsApp would just be like application letter. So I don't know, maybe the boy brought whatever I got to himself. I don't really understand. My only opinion out there is that all those upcoming bottoms, all those little boys that are coming up, they should take it easy. I know Nigeria is a very I don't want to use the word fast food trip. There are a lot of people who deceive people a lot, but they should just take it easy. They should take it easy. That's my own.
Thank you, Zamani. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for playing this story, because like so many people that have refused. Thank you so much. I feel my final words. Yes, we've heard from both sides, or three of our sides. Younger people coming up, please. Your life is precious. Don't keep your life at the hands of anybody. Take full control of your life. Make sure you take safety during, after, before sex very seriously. That is why we started the show called Sex Education, so that younger people can know what to do before, after, during, and even as time goes on, so that you know when you are ready to do certain things. And in this situation, I don't think the boy should be blamed, because like he's passed away. He's not here to speak, and I feel we should respect the dead. But at the same time, younger people should learn from this story. It could happen to anybody.
So for me, I think my own final words would be like everything I said again points towards the top. And for me, I feel like we can do better in this community. We can do better. For me, I would say everything just looks shady to me, because the guy should have probably died in a hospital. I know of a particular story too, that a community member too, he invited someone to his place. Not even a community.
Camera is upside down.
Oh, sorry. Can you guys see me now?
Yes.
Am I better? Sorry. Yeah. I think a call came in. And so for me, I feel like I said again, it's a particular story that happened of two community members that one invited the guy to his place, a BTM to his place, and in the middle of the night. So he didn't know that the person was asthmatic, and then the asthma seizure started. And you know, the asthma, you need your inhalers. So if there was no inhaler, the person was gasping for breath. It became like a kind of Civic Marvel Comedy Central kind of thing. And he had to rush the person to the hospital, and he spent a lot of money, I think hundreds of thousands, in getting that person stabilized. And it was something like, thank God too. And another committee member too, like that, too, that bought a BTM, that was like a family. A lot of people said, I know the person too, very close, a friend of mine, brought the person over, and the person went having the bath in the bathroom, fainted and collapsed, just collapsed. And it even took them a long time because they were seeing a movie. It took them almost to the end of the movie. Where is this person? Before they went to check the person, I saw that he had collapsed and blood, he was bleeding. They had to rush him to the hospital. Like 3 different hospitals rejected him before they finally got, I think the 4th one, that they had to leave their estate gates going as far before they finally got treatment for this person. Many stories like that keeps on happening in the community. I think people should just be safe. People should even, I would say, ask for people's medical record, but my dear, you can't just be too safe. People will just tell you lies upon lies. But it is well, Sha. So that's our offering for Q Talk for this episode. Thank you so much, Zamani, for coming on the show. Yeah.
Comment if you're watching. Comment your RIP. Comment what you think about this whole situation. We'd love to read your comments.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So like, share, comment. Tell your family members to subscribe. Tell your church members. Tell your pastor. Tell your imam. Tell even your family. Send it to your grandma and your grandpa. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them to like, share, and comment. Till next episode on Breaking News Wahala. See you guys later. Out.